So welcome guys, we are now at Texel Airport. I had one request remaining from a previous video from someone who asked me to show the area of Texel in this scenery. Texel is a island that lies in the north of the Netherlands. I can show it to you, of course. It's down here. This is Texel. The airport is here. We are standing at runway 21, so we will take off to the southwest. And then we make a circle around the islands. And well, I might fly even further over a couple of the other islands and then somewhere over the mainland in the north to show you what that looks like. Well, let's just take off and I'll tell you something about the area that we're flying over for at least as much as I know about it, which isn't a lot, but we'll see where how it gets and where we are. So let's increase the throttle. There we go. Set takeoff power. And 80 knots, so let's rotate. And the plane that we're in is the PMDG DC-6, so we are climbing, gear up. Let's gain a little bit of altitude and then I'll show you some shots from the outside. Like I said, the PMDG DC-6, well, it's a very nicely modeled airplane, at least for the 3D modeling, that is. I'm not very much blown away by the realism in here because, well, I think the startup sequence for the engines is completely wrong. And I saw another video on YouTube from a guy from Aerosim Gaming, that is. And he reviewed the product, and that guy really knows his stuff. He's a real-world mechanic for airplanes, and well, he really knows a lot about the mechanical side of flying and also the theoretical part of flying, far more than I will ever know. So if you really want to learn something about flying, visit his channel. But anyway, he did a review of this airplane and he wasn't completely happy with it. For various reasons. Something had to do with the aerodynamics, something had to do with the realism. Well, he said a lot of these things would be acceptable from any other developer, but since this is PMDG, they kind of raised the bar also for themselves. So it was, well, in some respects it's a bit disappointing. Anyway, I'm flying it now in X-Plane 11. It's officially not compatible yet. I will show you some of the things that aren't correct right now from the outside perspective in a minute. You see this strange looking haze over the instruments. At first I thought that was a compatibility issue. It is not. What you are seeing on the gauges is the reflection of the fabric of the pilot's chair. Someone pointed it out in the comments of my previous first impressions video of the PMDG DC-6. And he said, well, isn't that the fabric of the chair? Yes, it is. I was wrong. It's not a compatibility bug. It's really just a very nice reflection in the gauges. So that's rather nice. Anyway, we are now at altitude. I will see if I can trim her a little bit because we are flying straight towards the clouds now. That's a bit too high. So let's reduce power a bit. See if we can descend slightly. Now I set the weather to the preset of broken clouds, because in reality the weather outside isn't very nice. Oh, missed the throttles. It's very poor visibility in the Netherlands today, so that didn't really work for a VFR flight to show the scenery. So here we go for the outside perspective of the plane. Now the 3D modeling of this airplane is really amazing. There is nothing wrong with it. It looks absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful airplane. I kind of fall in love with how it looks. Really love the shape and the lines, and it's I think it's a very stylish airplane. And let us zoom in, because what is really nice about this bird is the nice X-Plane 11 reflections are already fully available. If you look at the fuselage, the light, the reflections on that, it is amazing. It's really nice. But let's don't drop the nose too much. She flies beautifully well. Let's zoom out again, because we are here for the scenery, of course. So this is the island of Texel. It's a very popular holiday destinations for both the Dutch and the German. A lot of Germans come here each summer to lay on the beaches, rent bikes, cycle across the island. Here's the airport. Somewhere down here is a dairy farm that also makes its own ice cream, which is absolutely delicious. If you ever go to Texel, really go there and taste their ice cream. Was there last summer and it was amazing. It was really tasteful. So just a tip from me. Well, as you can see, it's well, there are some small villages, lots of farms. There is also a lot of nature, because of course with the dunes there are lots of birds, etc. Now the seas that you are looking at on the left side is the North Sea, and on the right hand side is called the Waddenzee. And the Waddenzee is quite special, because when the tide rolls out, basically a large portion of the seabed comes dry. And you can actually walk over that. There are walks, power was a bit too low, start descending quite rapidly. Anyway, you can then walk over the sea bed to another island, basically. It's quite nice, very special, very delicate area of natural beauty. There are seals, birds. It's very nice. Well, like I said, a lot of the Dutch and Germans come here each summer for the campings or the holiday homes to well, basically spend their holiday at sea or at the bike. The beaches are they're pretty good. It's very nice place to be. So nice to go there for a long weekend. Well, there's not much more to tell about it. There's lots of sheep farms, lots of wool comes from Texel. I don't know very much about it, so don't want to tell you rubbish. So that's about all I know of it. So let's move on to the next island, which is called Vlieland. And on Vlieland, the western part of the island, that's basically the practice range for the Dutch Air Force. They can practice dropping bombs, etc. down here. It's called the Vliehorst. And well, the Dutch F-16s, I think the Apaches also do practice there with air-to-ground practicing. And I thought, but I'm not really sure, that just north of here is a designated military airspace where the F-16s can practice their air-to-air fightings, etc. Not really happy with the vertical speed. It's still too high. Let's see what it is. Go down again. A little bit of trim. Let's keep it like this. I think this is pretty good. Well, basically the Netherlands has 5 of these islands. They're called the Waddenislands. And well, like I said, this part of the island of Vlieland is the exercise range for the Dutch Air Force. Here is the control room for the air. Well, basically where the coordinators for the exercises are, and I think also the instructors who judge the performance of the military pilots. The other part of the island is well, quite nice to visit actually. A lot of nature. We have to descend slightly to not get into those clouds. Just the side of a DC-6, basically a museum airplane now. In the old KLM livery. Well, it's a Dutchman, that makes me quite happy to see, of course. Dutch flag on the vertical stabilizer. Flying Dutchman on one side and the Dutch translation, the Vliegende Hollander, on the other side. Well, I'm really, personally, I really like airplanes from the World War II era and shortly thereafter. Completely in love with the Spitfire. I love the DC-6. I love the DC-3 as well. The Lancaster bomber is also a very beautiful airplane. So, and the DC-6 was on my wish list for quite some time. Bought it late last year, just before Christmas. And well, like I said, there's something to say about the realism. I don't really think the realism is quite up to the PMDG standards, to be honest. But the modeling is excellent. Yeah, like I said in the beginning of the video, it is not completely compatible. I also pointed that out in my first impressions video for the PMDG DC-6. Or basically my first flight video. First impressions is kind of a frugal name, and I don't want to get into any copyright issues with the major sim vloggers. But anyway, what is wrong right now in Explain 11 is that when I press the full left rudder, you will see the nose go to the left, which is correct in itself, but the rudder movement, the rudder goes to the right, and that's not correct. So if you see me make turns and you see the rudder go the wrong way, doesn't mean that I am flying it wrongly, it's just that the animation isn't correct yet. So the deflection of the vertical vertical stabilizer of the rudder is not correctly modeled in Explain 11 at least. Explain 10 I have no problems with it whatsoever. Well, from Vlieland we move on to the next island, which is called Terschelling. And Terschelling is also a very popular holiday island. Also very popular by the Dutch youth. They like to go there in their school holidays in the summer. Go to a camping, get drunk, go to the discos, you know it. All the things that young people do. I've never been there myself, I really wasn't into that crap, but well, a lot of them are, and they have every right to do so, so it's quite nice. But also, as an adult, you can spend your holidays quite well here. As you can see, a large, nice beach. A lot of trees. Especially if you like bird watching or to look at seals, you can. And that's not Navy seals, but the animals. Well, then you really should go here sometimes. It's a very, very nice part of the Netherlands. And well, there are some ideas in the Dutch government to start drilling for gas in the soil here, but up until now the environmentalists managed to keep the government from doing that, and I think that's a good thing. I think this is a special area, and it deserves the status of national park and a protective environmental site. It's really, really nice. Well, although the realism in the PMDG DC6 might not be up to PMDG standards, in my opinion. One example is the startup sequence of the engines. If you are cold and dark and you want to start the engines, you move the mixture to rich and then press the startup button. Of course, after you set the electrics, etc. But if you would do that in real life with this airplane, just move the mixture to full and then press the startup button, you would probably drown this engine. Because, well, what they do in real life is they count the blades. That's how they call it. They make sure that the blades are spinning prior to entering fuel into the engine. Because, well, it's just what it needs. I'm not an expert on engines, but that much I do know. And that's completely non-realistic in this plane. And I think that's, well, PMDG has a reputation for being extremely providing extreme realism in their models, and I think they didn't do that in this one. But it looks amazing and it's fun to fly. I like to fly at VFR. It makes for some beautiful images, and of course the fact that the X-Plane 11 reflections work so well with it. I mean, come on guys, this is just beautiful. This is really, really beautiful. The reflections in the metal of the airplane, it really looks like real aluminium. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments for my mistakes. But just look at this. I mean, if PMDG brings their 737 or their 777, maybe the 747 V2 into X-Plane 11 and they look like this, I think Be Prepared can shut down. Because that's amazing how it looks. Look at this. Really, really, really amazing. Completely, this is why you fall in love with X-Plane 11, images like this. Even despite the fact that, well, there's one major downside to X-Plane 11 for now. And that's that when you are flying at night or at dusk or dawn. Anyway, when the sky is full of colors and the sun is really low and the moon starts to rise, the lighting is terrible. You see images with lots of jaggies. It's like a very low resolution picture that you get there. It's known by Lemmer, they are working on it, or at least that's what they keep saying, so we'll trust them on that one. But other than that, just VFR conditions, VFR flight. X-Plane 11 is your sim, it really is. Like I said in previous videos, superior flight modeling. And now with the Ortho 4XP, which gives you, which is completely free of charge by the way, and gives you the possibility of creating your own photo scenery for any place on the planet. I mean, who needs Orbex? You just have to buy the X-Plane 11 sim, which is I think 60 or 70 bucks. You have to buy either X-Enviro or SkyMax Pro V4. This is SkyMax Pro V4 that you are looking at the clouds. Because basically the default weather system in X-Plane, well, it's just like FSX and Prepared. It's functional, but you really need an add-on to make it jaw-droppingly nice. But that's nothing new. And I think that will cost you somewhere between 40 and 70 bucks. I'm not really sure what the prices are at the moment. But if you add up these two, for $140 you are ready to fly. There are some pretty good default airplanes in here, especially if you like VFR. The default Cessna, the Beach Baron, they are, well, what more can you want? They're pretty nice planes. I mean, of course they're not up to Coronado standards, but well, for a default airplane they are really, really not bad. Also the default 747, 737 NG, MD-82, they are, well, the outside models look nice. The system's complexity is well, very low. It's a very basic sim in that respect. You cannot compare it with the PMDG 737 NG. But well, I can only recommend everyone Try the demo of X-Plane 11, see how it works on your PC. With the public beta 8 that is now that came out last weekend, performance issues are, well, as far as I'm concerned, resolved. It's really, really amazingly nice. Flies very smooth now. So you should really try it. I mean, I saw some of the new add-ons that are coming out for prepared, which are like the I don't know, it was an Airbus A320. I'm not really know about the developer, so I'm not gonna mention any names. But if you watch the Frugal News from last week, you will definitely see it. And that's add-on planes costing you $140 in prepared. And I think that these prices are ridiculous. It's just because of the so-called licensing issues that they have, and because it's a professional platform and all the blah 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 blah. They know very well that most of the people that use prepared are just simmers, hobbyists, just like me, who don't have any professional purposes. So I think it's well, I'm sure it will all be correct if you let a lawyer look at it, but I think it's a scam. But that's just my opinion. I mean, add-ons that would cost you 80, 90 euros in FSX, now all of a sudden have to cost 140 euros in prepared. Well, I'm not too happy about that, and it has to do with, like I said, with the licensing. That's not an issue with X-Plane 11. It's just a fun simulation. It's a game. Nothing professional about that. No licensing issues. If you look at these pictures, you can do nothing but fall in love with X-Plane 11. You really can't. Let me get my map, because this is Emmeloord already, where we are now flying, and we are heading straight for Schiermonnikoog. Well, I can basically tell you the same about Emmeloord as I can tell you about Texel and Texel. Islands, small villages, lots of agricultural terrain. In the summer, lots of tourists. Well, basically all year round there are tourists, because, well, I don't know how you feel about that, but I personally love being at the beach any time of year. I have a girlfriend who lives close nearby by the sea, near Katwijk and Noordwijk. And whenever I go there, we usually take a walk along the beach, and, well, doesn't matter what the weather is like, it's always nice to be there. And that's one of the big reasons why a lot of the people, well, basically why there are people going to the islands for long weekends all year round, but especially during the summer holiday period, it's extremely busy in the islands. And I can say the same about the next island, which is called Schiermonnikoog. We're not going to do that, so I think we'll make a right turn from here over the Lauwersoog area and then to Groningen, and I think then a right turn for Drachten, Heerenveen, the Lakes area, and then it's either to the north to Leeuwarden Air Force Base or to the south back to Lelystad, but one of these two, and that will be the flight for today. So that's the Lauwersoog area, so let's make a turn to the right towards that. Just look at this lighting. I mean, this is, well, also on the sea, the cloud shadows, the light on the land, the difference between direct lighting and cloud shadows. Wow. These are the images that you want. And then a beautiful plane as the DC-6 in them. I don't know if we have time to make the complete circle, but sunset is coming in quite rapidly. So we might what I also can do is fly from here to Groningen and then to Eelde and land there, and that being the flight for today. I might do that. Eelde, that's Groningen Airport Eelde. The KLM Flight Academy has the training facilities down there. And I know that Flybe had a service to, I thought it was London South End from Groningen Airport Eelde. I'm not really sure whether they're still having that. But they used to fly the Dash 8Q400 in there. Doesn't really matter if they fly there or not. If you Google it, I'm sure you can find it out. But not gonna do that here. This is anyway. This is called the Lauwersoog, which is also a nature reserve, or at least I think it is. It's not a national park, but it's sure. But it's a special area also. A bit swampy, lots of birds. And well, you can have really nice fish down there if you like fish. I'm not too much of a fan of fish, but they have some pretty good restaurants with fresh fish from the sea every day. Now the area to the right here, that's the province of Friesland. And well, there basically are the Dutch stubborn separatists. They have their Frisian is the official second language in the Netherlands. It's not a dialect, it's a proper language that they speak. Officially recognized and all. Well, we always kind of make fun of them in the West because they always think they have a small country within a country. It's basically a province officially, but there are some movements within the Frisian people that would really love to separate from the Netherlands, I think. It's always kind of a bit of fun we have. It's just like the English always say that the Scottish are cheapskates. Well, in that same respect, we always say that the Frisians are stubborn, that they are separatists. It's a beautiful province to go anyway. Lots of lakes, lots of water sports. You can sail there very well. Lots of boat rentals, etc. Well, here's the harbor from that I told you about, with all the nice fish restaurants right there. You can take nice walks here, holiday camps. I think there even is a military exercise range somewhere around here, and I thought that this was a... I'm not really sure, but I thought the military has a like a ghost town in here to practice urban warfare, but I'm not completely sure whether that's that or not, whether that's it or not. Basically, as an amateur photographer, I'm really loving the pictures that we are seeing right now, with the lighting and the airplane and nice composition. I'm kind of a landscape nerd, so that's not too... I really love landscapes. And all their variety. If you see the beauty in them, you see beauty everywhere. If you see the beauty in stuff, that's always a good thing. And that's why I can really enjoy flying VFR over photoreal scenery. Right now I'm still I'm now flying only in the Netherlands for the videos that I do, but there are of course far more regions that are really nice to fly over. But well, since I'm Dutch, I stick to the Netherlands for now, because I know something about it, not much, but if I see something and I do know something about it, I will, of course, I tell you guys. Well, let's go to the left a little bit more. That was my desktop. Not a picture I took myself, by the way, but just look at this. Now this is the province of Groningen that we're flying over. And Groningen is quite important for the Dutch economy because there was a lot of natural gas in the soil here, which the government pumped up and exported, and well, basically the entire country made a lot of money out of that, literally billions and billions of euros over time. And well, only a very small part of the earnings were invested in the Groningen area itself. It's quite a poor region. It's one of the last regions in the Netherlands that still has a communist party. And nowadays, because of all the gas winnings in the past, the ground is now becoming increasingly unstable with earthquakes appearing. So there's lots of damage here, lots of well, it's basically a drama. Lots of houses that are now well, basically worthless, and well, the people that live there still have their mortgages, etc. So that's not a very nice situation to be in. And well, now the government is reducing the amount of gas that's being won, etc. But they really just should well, I think they should stop doing it anyway and compensate the people here for all the damage that is done. It's really unfair how they are being treated now. That's my opinion. If you ask someone from the National Gas Company, they will tell you an entirely different story. I think it's unjust. Anyway, we are coming up to the city of Groningen now. The city of Groningen is also the capital of the province of Groningen. A very large city, very nice city. Lots of students there. A large university is based in Groningen. And well, it's a very nice place to be. A lot of, well, I think friendly people. Been there once or twice, and well, if you like to go out, there's lots of pubs in the inner city. A lot of students, of course. So there's always a party going on somewhere. And well, because the city of Groningen is very close to the German border, a lot of the people here are much orientated to other large German cities like Bremen, for example. It's a very, well, very flat country, lots of boulder landscapes. Well, not even boulders, they don't have dikes, but a lot of agricultural terrain. Of course, the city in real life, well, I said it before, it looks entirely different than what you are seeing here, but at least it gives you an idea. The street layout is correct. I think we're going to make a right turn now and fly alongside the A7 highway back to the west to Friesland. See if we can find an airfield before it gets dark. And maybe I can show you the lighting effects that I told you were very ugly in Explain 11 when the sun really starts to set. We'll see if we are still in the air by then, but anyway, this is the A7 highway. Then this is in real life the headquarters for the Dutch National Gas Company, called the NAM. They're stationed down there. And well, there's a lot of there's a lot of debate about the NAM and well, the role that they play in paying for the damages for the earthquakes, etc. So let's fly along the A7, see if we can speed actually. We can fly a little bit faster. Another thing that I really love about Explain 11 is how the animations with the cars, etc. are. It really gives the impression of well, a living world below you. I think that's very nice. Cars, trains. Try to insert barges, but I did find some shipping modules, but that's only for like ferries, etc. and not necessarily in the Netherlands, but every now and then you see ships in certain areas. Now let me see where the hell we are, because it's this Leek, I think so. Definitely looks like it. Then if this is, yeah, I think this is called Leek. It's a little town where I worked for over a year. Let me see if this is it. 2 roundabouts, it could be very well be it. Yeah, that's the highway exit and this, like that. Yep, this is it. This is the town of Leek. Very nice place, worked there for over a year, very friendly people. And it's basically on a point where, close to where 3 provinces meet. This is still Groningen, down here is the province of Drenthe, and down here is the province of Friesland. And well, of course, the you wouldn't say it because the Netherlands is a very small country, but there are very much regional differences, regional identities, different accents. And well, it was quite fun to live in the area where 3 provinces meet, because there was always well, friendly competition going on between the different provinces, and lots of humor down there. So I really enjoyed working there for more over a year. It was also quite easy to drive to, because in this part of the Netherlands, because it's not very densely populated, well, traffic jams are not very common. They sometimes are there, but that's usually because of an accident or anything like that. It's not because it's busy, it's just, well, if something goes wrong, then traffic comes to a stop. But in the more than a year that I drove from where I live to Leek, which was 100 kilometers single leg, for over a year, and I think I got stuck in a traffic jam only once or twice, and all the other days I could just make good progress. And well, I still had a lease car then, so didn't have to bother about petrol costs, which was also quite nice. Means you could really step on it. Well, nothing too fancy, of course. I mean, I'm not a maniac, but it was nice to be able to drive with 130, 140 kilometers per hour. my daily commute nowadays, I always get stuck in traffic, so I kind of miss those days. But I'm sure there's lots of you that have to cause traffic jams every day. But then again, it always makes you appreciate when you finally have a day off or you move to an area where there isn't much traffic. But anyway, as you can see, it's a beautiful area. Lots of space, lots of small villages. And especially the province of Drenthe is very nice to visit once in a while. I think this is Drachten. Yes, this is Drachten Airfield. Small general aviation airfield. Drachten, spelled Delta Romeo Alpha Charlie Hotel Tango Echo November. It's in the north. It's down there. With Leeuwarden Air Force Base being down there. We'll continue alongside the A7 towards Heerenveen, and then we'll decide what to do. I think we fly from Heerenveen to Leeuwarden to keep it north. We don't have time to fly back to Texel and land there. So let's just see where we end up today. Drachten. One of the larger cities in Friesland. And I think it's one of the larger cities in the Netherlands that doesn't have a railway station, but I'm not completely sure about it. I know it doesn't have a railway station, but I'm not sure whether there are other larger cities than it that don't have a railway station. I didn't think so, but I'm not completely sure. And from Drachten it's just a small stretch to go to Heerenveen, which is already down there. Heerenveen is also one of the larger cities in Friesland. There are lots of very small cities in Friesland, not villages but proper cities. They had city rights in the ancient times, and 11 of them are connected by waterways, and if the winters get really cold and all the water freezes over, then you have what's called the Elfstedentocht. It's an ice skating tour along 11 of these cities in Friesland. Last time they had it was in 1997, I think, due to the climate change. Of course, temperatures are warmer, the winters become very mild in the Netherlands nowadays. But it's like, I think, well, don't pin me on it, but I think it was like 250 kilometers of ice skating that you have to do. They start really early in the morning and then they end, then they finish somewhere late in the afternoon. And some people even late in the evening, although there is a certain time at which you have to be in. You have to finish by then. If you haven't finished by that time, you won't receive the what's called the Elfsteden Cross, which is basically a sort of medal that you can earn if you ride that tour. Heerenveen with the stadium down there. Heerenveen is a football team that plays in the let's say the Premier League of the Netherlands. Basically, Groningen also has a football team that plays in the Premier League as well, and they are of course very big rivals of each other. It's like the derby of the north, it's how it's called, when they have to play to each other. And there's a lot of rivalry between the Frisian and the Groningen people. This is called Joure. This is quite a unique thing. They have a roundabout in the middle of a highway, and it's now finally being dealt with, and they're making a decent intersection of it. But because, well, this is ridiculous. There's always traffic jams here. Always, well, every day 2 to 3 kilometers. because, well, there's traffic coming in from the southwest. It has to go in there, and then it's blocking the road for the traffic that moves back to the west. And it's just, well, they're finally doing something about it. And that's where the A7, A7 and the A6 intersect. Now the A6 moves alongside the lakes down to Lemmer, which is down there. And then Emmeloord and Lelystad, and then finally via Almere to Amsterdam. So in my Randstad area video, we flew over the city of Almere. That's where the A6 starts. This is where the A6 ends. And the A7 keeps continuing. And that goes all the way through the north of the Netherlands. We are now here at Joure, but it goes all the way down there to Zurich, over the Afsluitdijk, and then it's back down to, I think, Purmerend. Oh, let's keep it jolly nice. And then this is probably Snake. That's not like the animal, but Sierra November Echo Echo Kilo. A double echo in the Netherlands is pronounced as A. Basically we are now, this is what I said, the all the lakes in the southwestern part of Friesland. Well, again, in summer there's lots of tourists here, lots of Germans. Germans seem to love water. Don't know why, but there are always lots of boats sailing around here, lots of tourists. It's a really nice area of the Netherlands to visit. Very small but very characteristic small cities in here. I can only recommend you to visit it. Well, what the hell, we're flying to Lelystad. Let's just say this is an airplane from the Aviodrome Aviation Museum and it has to go back now. We'll see whether we're in time, and otherwise we can do something about it with the time settings in the sim. We'll make sure we fly back in daylight. But let's see if we can make it. Increase some of the power to gain some speed. You can really, you can also see very well in the scenery that, well, there's lots of water here. Lots of water. And of course water always attracts tourists. And if you like photography, you can really make some awesome pictures in this area, especially around dusk and dawn when the sun rises or sets. You get this incredible lighting effects also on the lakes, on the small but old cities. It's really nice. Doing 200 knots now, which is nice. Can make some decent progress in a short time. We'll just fly along the coastline here to the town of Lemmer and then into the Northoost Polder, back to Lelystad. So let's just keep it like this. This is a nice heading. Now the big lake that you see there, that's the IJsselmeer, and that used to be the Zuiderzee, especially I think I already mentioned it in one of the previous videos. But we basically turned the sea into a lake. Let me descend out of these clouds because this is very well, it looks nice, but you don't see the scenery, and that's what we're here for. So. Now, back in the days when this was still sea instead of a lake, there were also lots of floodings. And, well, then the government decided to build the giant polders in there. They also decided to build what is called the Afsluitdijk first. And the Afsluitdijk, that's this one down here, and it basically separates it prevents the sea from flowing into to here. This is the town of Lemmer, which is also a very, very nice town. It has a nice canal running through the inner city. They have some very, very good restaurants or well, bistros down there. You can have a nice sandwich for lunch. They have a restaurant here near the beachy area where you can also have quite a decent lunch. Never had dinner there, but I did have lunch a couple of times in this city. Very nice small town, very worth a visit. Now the chimney that you see here, the factory, that's not a factory, but it's an old pump station, where one that they use to dry out the polder, to pump the water out of the polders. And here we are over the Netherlands, over the Noordoostpolder. I'm not really sure whether these windmills are already there in real life. I know they were planning a lot of them, but I'm not really sure whether they are already there. Fun fact is that on the IJsselmeer last summer they did a lot of shooting for the new movie, the Dunkirk movie. That was the set was in this lake, so a lot of the water scenes were shot in here, this part of the Netherlands. Basically at war with my trim now, because I just can't seem to get the airplane nice where I want it, but this is about right. So let's just keep looking from the outside again. Now this is the town of Emmeloord. There's also a small airfield nearby, but I'm not really sure where it is. Somewhere down there, I think. Echo Hotel November Papa, that's the ICAO code for that airfield. Now the A6, the highway comes in down there, then makes the turn on the intersection down to this way. If you continue this road, you come back to Kampen and Zwolle area. But from here on, the A6 runs towards Lelystad, which is down there, and the airport is down there, so we are getting closer, and well, we'll make that in the daylight period, so that's nice for the VFR regulations. But look at the lighting, I mean, the images, they are just jaw-droppingly nice, they really are. So are the clouds, by the way. Now if you want to know how to install this scenery, don't ask a question in the comments, because last Sunday I uploaded a video showing you what scenery I use, how to install it, where to get it, etc. It's a 20-minute video, so if you want to know, just look at that. Good boy. I think the DC6 gives a nice touch to these images. Something different to look at than the default Beach Baron, which is also a very nice plane, by the way. There's nothing wrong with it, but just the style that you have in here is very nice. Now these windmills, they are very recent. They were built last year, so the OpenStreetMap data is quite recent. And that's why the park is already in there. I think it's still under construction nowadays, but it's already being placed in the OpenStreetMap data. Now this is Urk, a small city that used to be an island. And then when they decided to make a polder out of this area, they used it to link up the dikes, so then it wasn't an island anymore. It's an old fisherman city. There's still lots of fish, there's still a large fish industry down there, lots of fishermen, lots of fish processing industry. So they're still very active in the with the fishing. Sail to the North Sea and they fish down there. But, well, it's time to start descending, so it's too less power, then it starts to whine. There we have Zwifterband, small town in the province of Flevoland, Zwifterband, and that's Drachten. And the air, let me see, Lelystad is down there, and that's the airport down there somewhere, so let's start to wind up some speed, see if we can lose something already. We'll just fly parallel to this runway and intercept the final course down there if we can manage to get rid of enough speed before that time. Decreasing, so set the first stage on flaps. Let's put the gear down. A little bit of drag always helps to reduce speed. So, and here we are for landing at Lelystad Airport, runway 23. To go back to the Aviation Museum Aviodrome where we came from. Well, we parted Texel of course, but unfortunately there's not enough time to make it back there. I do think the time of day makes for some awesome pictures here. So we are going fast here. So let's see if we can get rid of some speed and some altitude. Doesn't really work very well. Again, this is not about nice flying, it's about showing off some scenery, but I would like to make a decent landing. The landing speed with this bird is about approximately 19 knots. At least that's what I usually do. I still have to read the manual. I haven't found time to do that. So let's just see how this goes. And here we are. I think we landed maybe a little bit early, but doesn't really matter. Anyway, this was the flight over the northern part of the Netherlands. From Texel over the islands via Groningen, Friesland, back down to Lelystad. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the scenery. Again, if you want to know what scenery this is and how to install it, watch the other video. We'll place a link in the description. I will add the slide with the system specifications in front at the beginning of the video. So that's it again for today. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.